All right, so to continue with where we left off on the previous lesson on ratios and rates, we're in block 6. We're on the third page of 4 pages. Suppose you want to enlarge the 4-inch by 3-inch photograph of the giraffe. Now, so you've got we had that 4-inch by 3-inch photo of the giraffe, right? Okay, that's a nice, lovely giraffe. But we want to make the poster with a. You can't see my OneNote? Oh, you know what? Thank you for letting me know. I'll get right on that. Perfect. Okay, there we are. So again, we want to enlarge the 4-inch by 3-inch photograph of the giraffe. We want to make a poster with a height of 48 inches. So we could write an equation that we could use to answer this question. And then we'll find out what the actual height is. So in order to find the width, now remember yesterday when we said, all right, when we're comparing the height versus the width, that was 3 compared to 4. And that would be, so if we wanted to find the height, well, we would have to divide both sides by W. I'm sorry, multiply both sides by W. And these would cancel each other out, and we would be left with the height being 3/4 times W. However, if we were looking at the other unit rate or ratio, we would take then the width versus the height, and that is 4/3. Now, if we wanted to find the width based on the height, well, to solve for W, we would multiply both sides by H. These H's would actually cancel each other out because one is being divided, one is being multiplied, and W would actually be 4/3 times the height. So if we are given the height like we are in question number 5, if we want to make a poster with a height of 48, well, then we would take our ratio of 4/3, and we're going to multiply that by the height. But in this case, we know the height. The height is 48. And 4/3 times 48. What is 4/3 times 48? Well, let's have a look at that. Times 48 over 1. 4 times 48. What is that, Mr. Calculator? 4 times 48 is 192. Divided by 3, because 3 times 1 is 3. And so the width ends up being 64. So our width would be 64 inches. And with that, the ratio of the height to width is the same. So the picture will not be distorted. It'll be larger, but the giraffe will look the same. It'll just look larger. Okay. So let's take a look at question number 6. Whoop, hold on a second there. There we go. In a photo, the unit rate is 3/4 of an inch of height for every inch of width. And the actual height of the image is 15 feet. So what is the actual width? Well, the great thing about this is we can set up a proportion, which is great. Remember the whole thing with unit rate. If we're setting this up properly, we're looking at the comparing the height to the width. And this says there's 3/4 of an inch of height for every or per inch of width. Okay, so if the actual height is 15, now where does the height go? The height is on the top. If the height is 15, what's the width? Well, and then we want to find what is the width. That's what we want to know. So in order to figure that out, we have to say, all right, well, how do I get how do I get from 3/4 to 15? What do I have to do? So it's like the scale factor problem. How do I get 3/4 and make it 15? Well, I would need to take that 15 and divide by 3/4 to find out what I would need to multiply 3/4 by to get it. So 15 divided by 3/4 is the same thing as 15 times 4/3. 15 over 1 times 4/3. Well, 15 times 4 is 60. And 1 times 3 is 3. And what is 60 divided by 3? Well, it's going to be 20. So we have to then take 3/4, multiply it by 20 to get 15. And then, of course, 1 multiplied by 20 is just 20. So our width ends up being 20 feet. Always make sure that you label to stay consistent with what the problem is giving you. Okay. Now, another way to do this, which would be a whole lot simpler, is remember if we know the height, if we want to find the height, all we have to do is multiply the height times 4/3 to find the width in this case. But that would be simpler than what we did, but we're using proportions to show you how to do this. Okay? Taking one ratio and making it equal to the other, and then solving for the missing piece. All right, well, let's move on to the next question. All right, so question number 7. In a different photograph of a 20-foot tall giraffe, the width of the actual scene is 15 feet. So the width is 15 feet. The height of the giraffe in the picture is 4 inches. So how wide is the photograph? All right, so we're going to have to use proportional relationships again. So let's have a look at this. So we know that the photograph, the giraffe is 12 feet tall. That's important information, right? The giraffe is 12 feet tall. So 12 feet. And the width of the actual scene is 15 feet. So then how do we take and find out what this missing dimension is here? Now, there are a couple of different ways we could do this. First of all, if we, let's just say that we compare the height, and then we want to find the width based on what we have here. So the picture is 4 inches high. The actual scene is 12 feet. And then the width is 15 feet. So I make sure that I have my feet in the right place there. And then what will be the width of the picture that we're looking for? So one of the things we can do is to say, all right, how do I get from 12 to 15? It's kind of like asking yourself, what's my scale factor? So remember, to find scale factor, I would have to take 15 and divide it by 12. And that would be 15 divided by 12 is 1.22. Oh, let's just simplify this. That'd be a lot easier. 5/4. Okay, there we go. So if I take 12 and multiply, let me get rid of this arrow here. If I take 12 and multiply by 5/4, then I can find out, I get 15. 4 multiplied by 5/4 as my scale factor. Let's see, 4 times 5/4. Let me go up here and work on that. 4 over 1 multiplied by 5/4. 4 times 5 is 20. And 1 times 4 is 4. And 20 divided by 4 is 5. So my width of this picture would be 5 inches. 5 inches for the width of the photo. Now, the other thing, I mean, if you want to do this in a different way, we could set it up using the constant proportionality equation. And I can show you that really quickly here without any trouble. Give me just a second. I'll pause this for just a moment while I... All right, so like I said, the other way we could look at this is if we're trying to find the width, then we would take the width and set it up in a ratio to the height, like we see here, 12 to 15, and then we multiply that by the width that they gave us, which was 4, and we multiply straight across. 15 times 4 is 60, and 12 times 1 is 12, and 60 divided by 12 is 5, which of course, that's what we already found that to be, 5 inches. So a couple of different ways. Setting up the proportion thing is a little cumbersome. You know, it's a little more time consuming. The other one just requires you to have a little bit more knowledge of the setup. So let's go to the next one and see what we can do, what kind of damage we can do with the next one. Number 8. So Maggie is making a scale model of her house, okay? After creating the model, she forgets what the height of her house is. So she's trying to find the height of her house. She remembers that the house is 60 feet wide. And then furthermore, her model is 12 inches wide and 9 inches high. So what is the actual height? Okay, because we're looking for the height, okay? Because we're looking for the height, when we go to set this up, we're going to say, all right, well, we're going to put the height that we're given in the top of our constant of proportionality equation part, and then the 12 down below, because that's the width, and we're going to multiply that by the width that we are given, which is 60. So because we're trying to find the height, okay, remember, height is what we're looking for. So the height is what goes on top. The width goes here, and then we multiply by the width that is given to us. And then we multiply straight across. 9 times 60 is 540. 12 times 1 is 12. Now, what is 540 divided by 12? And that equals 45. So we know the actual height of her house is 45 feet. Now, this does take some practice. It takes some getting used to knowing how to set these up. What are you looking for? The thing that you're looking for, remember that dimension goes on top, and you have to use the dimensions that you are given to set up that piece. And then you use the other information that you're given to set that up. Okay? All right. Well, it looks like number 9 is the last one that we have. And so, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to leave you that one to solve on your own, and make sure that you enter your answer into the forms document. I'll make sure that the forms document is set up and ready as soon as possible, and I'll put it into Teams as soon as I get it, and you'll be notified, of course, that you've got an assignment in Teams. So with that, I will stop the recording.